And folks, if you're on here live, if you don't mind typing in live, and if you're watching a replay, type in replay. Helps us keep track of stuff. I'm gonna bring this thing up on my phone. Right there we are. Got it. We got some questions y'all sent in and posted and messaged and everything else. We'll go over them. And as always, if you got any questions, just pop them in the chat. If we're live, we'll get to them right now. If we see them later, we'll get to them next week.
Yep.
What else? Turkey season is upon us in South Carolina.
Yep.
What else? We got kind of a month lull in our 3D shoots locally because I guess of turkey season, but we're getting geared up for the tack.
Mm-hmm.
Got to get, I think Partaine's got his bow basically done. Me and TJ hadn't really touched ours, but we're going to get them hopefully in the next week or two.
Yep.
Finally got some bloodline material in after a 2-month wait, so that's a good thing. Got some arrows coming, some stuff shipped finally, so.
Yep.
What kind of questions we got?
Let's see here. First one I got comes in is from Jesse, and it says, why are speed sleeves called speed sleeves?
So, I guess he means, what's up, Doug? So speed nocks or speed sleeves or whatever you want to call them, the nocks, basically, if you put weight on a certain point of the string on opposite ends, it helps the string, when you hit the trigger, you know, there's almost a moment that the string, it takes it a second to get going, I guess is the best way to word that, but the nocks help the string lay into the track quicker, so it adds speed. You know, you add stuff in the middle of the string, you lose speed, but you put weights at the ends in the right spot, it'll gain speed. So most people use a brass knock, but the sleeves are a little rubber sleeve that slides over it, and it does two things. One, it does speed the bow up a little bit, and two, it takes a little bit of twanginess out of it. The only disadvantage is they don't weigh as much as a couple brass knocks, so you're not going to get as much speed as the brass knock. So it is what it is. Some of the elite bows came with sleeves, and we recommend going back with that. But usually we tell people whatever it came with from the factory is what I would go with, unless it's a little bit older bow where you only had 2 or 3 speed knocks, and then you can go either way, and it'll even take some of that twang out of it. So
yep,
that's basically it. Let's see here. We got we got Doug, Dean, Perry, and Bruce. What's up, fellas?
What up? Charles gets in and says, can the Dragon X8 kill a deer?
Oh yeah.
Yep. I mean, here in South Carolina, there is no like legal poundage that you've got to have to be able to shoot a deer with. I know some states require a certain amount of poundage before you can, you know, hunt with it and everything. But you know, you right around that 35-pound mark, shoot a fixed blade broadhead, and keep your shots about 20-25 yards, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing, I've had multiple people ask that in the past year or two.
Mm-hmm.
But like TJ said, you got enough, you know, oomph behind it, and you'll be just fine.
Nicholas gets in and says, give me your thoughts on decreasing arrow weight versus adding bow poundage for speed.
It'd be nice to know a little bit more information, but you know, you can get a good bit of speed by adding a few pounds, you know, but I don't know what your arrow setup is or whatever, but you know, you got to stay above 5 grains per pound, so there's only so much arrow weight you can take away if you were going to go that route. Be kind of nice to know what your current setup is, but if you can add a few pounds, that's definitely the easiest way to do it, but also make sure you're not going to add a few pounds and underspine your arrows. You know what I mean? If you're on the borderline of you're in a 350 and you might need a 300, your arrows are going, especially with broadheads, are going to fly crazy. So shoot us a message back or call us or do whatever. Let us know kind of what bow you're shooting, what poundage, draw length, spine, all that, and we could probably give a better answer.
Yeah. Like the biggest thing with that one is you definitely don't want to shoot an underspined arrow. That's just the biggest thing on that one. Ben wants to know, do we offer any apprenticeship programs?
We got one called the Redbeard Perk. No, I'm kidding. No, not really. I think any archery shop. How do I word this without sounding whatever? Any archery shop you could go to and start becoming friends with them, and then start helping for free and work your way in that way. At multiple shops I've worked at, and now this one, we've seen that. I mean, even you know, John Partain that helps us. That's basically we've known John for a while. He started shooting with us and then hanging out a little bit, and then he kind of acted interested in helping us make strings and do stuff. And here he is. He's been with us for several years now in the evenings and stuff. But a lot of people is that way. You know what I mean? So we typically don't. I mean, you can't just bounce up in a shop and go behind their counter and start doing stuff. But if you can slowly earn their trust, and then they'll let you do stuff, and then that's kind of how it works. I don't know if he's local or.
I don't know. He didn't say.
Let's see. What's up? Merritt Adventures, DLR, and Vanessa. Speaking of Vanessa, my man over here went and bought him a brand new truck this week. I mean, you can't hide the money that Redbeard's bringing in. He come rolling up like a pimp. Brand new Ford truck, fancy edition. It's got buttons and sirens and lights and horns and I don't even know.
Well, it was time for an upgrade. I still got my Red Ranger I'm not going to get rid of, but it probably won't buy another truck for a long time.
Don't let him lie. He'll have a new one next year.
Oh, let's see, where was we at? Zach gets in and says, what is the lightest Peep sight on the market? Ain't
it used to be Octane, which is like Bowtech's whatever company, accessory company. They made one, I think it was like carbon, and it was super lightweight. And I think that's something that somebody could make some money off of. I don't even know if they still make it. We used to stock them, but it's been like 6-7 years ago. Because I know like the big specialty Peeps like 45 grains. So yeah. I mean, the lighter the better. So I think if somebody could, even on your standard, just standard hunting Peep sight, you know, make it out of carbon, or I hate to say plastic because I've seen some junk plastic ones, but I don't know. Other than that, I don't know.
Does Pine Ridge make one that they a couple years ago that they still offer?
I don't know.
Was it the Z38?
It's metal.
It's metal. Okay.
Yeah.
I could have swore Pine Ridge. I don't know why Pine Ridge stuck out, but
DLR said, "How's the Bowtech bows going?" Honestly, hadn't had a ton of interest in them. We've got some SR350s and CP28s, which is the newest ones, and I mean, we've had some lookers, but no takers, I guess is the way to put it. But I also need, I know I hadn't done it yet, but I need to get more videos. I need to put it out there that we got them, I guess. But of the people that came in, nobody's jumped yet. So, and we knew it'd start off slow. I mean, it's fine. And with us being a new dealer, it'll take a year or two to get the word out and that sort of thing. So we're not in a big rush. But I really thought, well, I don't know though. I mean, your speed people, I think, is going to want that SR350. But I really thought that little 28-inch bow, people would be diving over, you know what I mean? And they may still, but not yet. But it's a little bow. It feels good.
It does.
For a little tree stand type bow, it might be something else.
Let's see. Alan gets in and says, I'm having a hard time with certain pin colors. Any advice? What's the best all-around color? That is going to be a hard one because everybody's different. I see green the best, followed by red. The yellow or the amber color, or whatever they want to call it, it blends in with any type of target with me.
I'm about the same way, to be honest. Green would be my pick of the three big ones, you know what I mean? To me, I just never could get a red pin to stand out bright enough that I personally like. But like on my 3D bow, I got that, I can change the color of it, and it's purple because nothing's purple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, of the main colors, green would be my pick.
Yeah.
But I guess everybody might like something different.
Yeah.
DLR said, when will we be shooting them or using them over our prime bows? Well, this year was a little different because we didn't really technically pick up Bowtech till after we already had our primes and all. If we'd have went the Bowtech route, I'd have to think. I don't know which one I would have got, to be honest with you.
What was it? The Revolt XL.
Yeah.
I really liked it because
Yeah.
you know I can get it out in my draw length.
What's up, Muddy Ducks? I wouldn't mind having, their tournament models. I don't have any in stock, but when we shot them before, they really shot good. I wouldn't mind playing with some of them.
The Reckoning 38, Reckoning 35, which I don't know if they still make the 35 or not.
I can't remember.
I don't either. I know the one that, from what I can see, just scrolling through a lot of stuff, is the Solution SS. Everybody is in love with that bow, and it was last year's model. I've shot it, and it shoots good and everything, but I would have probably went Revolt XL this year.
Yeah. But I don't know. We may throw them into our mix next year just to see, and who knows what they'll come out with. But I really want Prime to come out with like a 37-inch bow, and I have for years and years and years. So maybe next year we blast some Bowtechs. Doing good, Muddy Ducks. I was just telling them TJ didn't went and bought him a brand new truck. What does it say? Oh, I got some kind of software ready to install. Hopefully it don't do it while we're on here.
It ain't brand hammer new. It's a few years old. Let's see here. Paul says, have you ran into an issue where the Peep can't be slid up high enough? I bought a Matthews V327 and can't get my Peep up high enough before it hits the serving.
A couple times. Usually you get a longer draw shooter and a little bitty bow, and you'll see that. Usually what we'll do is on that bow, like below the bottom speed knock on the top, there's a little bit of serving left. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, I'm sure a shop would, but cut that serving loose. That'll get you another inch or inch and a half sometimes, and just retie the serving, but closer to where that speed knock's at. And that usually does the trick, but we've seen it a few times.
When I had that Bear Divergent, when they first come out with it, the little 28-inch axle bow, I needed to cut some of the serving off the top to get my Peep up a little bit more, but I never did.
Muddy Duck said to tell her about the truck. We might get signal. I could probably go to the door and show them.
That's about it. It's a F-150, a 19 model. I've been looking at getting a F-150 probably now for the last 5-6 years, and just finally was able to pull the trigger on one.
And Partain is about to get him an electric one.
Oh, he done changed his mind.
Oh, he's not getting electric.
He's getting a gas.
Cancel the electric. Okay. I was wanting him to get it just so we could see how it works. Hey guys, do you have any tips on shooting a hinge release for the first time? She said, what color is it?
Gunmetal gray. I think they call it stone gray, I think it is.
For the hinge, I would get me a practice something, even if it's just like a piece of loop material that you can tie and hold, you know what I mean, and practice without actually having to draw the bow, and then get comfortable with it that way, and then switch to the bow, because I think the people that get the bad juju from them just grab one, throw it on their bow, and then it punches them in the face, you know?
Yeah.
But if you can get any kind of shot trainer, we've got some here for like $20-25. I can't remember who makes them, but it's a
MD 50 gear or something like that.
Yeah, look those up because they're pretty cheap. But you can kind of draw back. It's got a little stretchy band and shoot. That way you kind of get confidence with the release, and then you don't punch yourself in the face, and you can kind of set the exact sensitivity of it and all that sort of thing. What kind of hinge did you get? Glad he canceled the electric. How many strings did you make to get the truck? He said, don't even tell me.
The biggest thing with like a hinge or any type of back tension is you will hear a lot of people say it's set hot or it's set cold, and what they mean by that is if it's set cold, it takes a lot of pressure to get it to for the shot to break, and if it's hot, then it doesn't take as much pressure. You kind of want to start out a little bit on the colder side just to get used to it. That way you don't bust yourself in the mouth. And as you get used to it, you can start lightening that. You can make that release a little bit hotter where it goes off quicker.
Doug said, any advice on shooting with glasses? TJ would be the man to talk to on that one.
It's going to be weird, and you're going to have to, depending on type of glasses and how far they sit away from your face and stuff like that, might have to change your peep height a little bit. And it's because I know when I first got mine and started shooting with them, my peep was a little bit lower and it kept hitting the lens on my glasses. So I ended up having to raise the peep height up where it wouldn't hit the lens in my glasses. So it's going to be just it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. It's just, the only way I can tell you to do it is just shoot with them on.
I know I've tried to shoot with sunglasses on before, but I see like out of the bridge of the nose, but then I just kind of gave up on it. I didn't really have to, but.
Yeah, just wear your glasses. You're probably going to have to and you're not going to have to raise it up maybe, a 16th, maybe an 1/8 of an inch, but just to get where when you draw back that your peep sight's not hitting your glasses, because when I draw back you could actually hear my peep hit my lens whenever I'd go to get my anchor point, and it just kept you here. So other than that, just shoot with them on.
Muddy Ducks, I seen you comment about the jerseys. I put that order in a couple weeks ago for that last order. I think we gotta have, I have to look again, a minimum of so many, but somebody else has already asked, so we'll probably maybe give it a month or two and then we'll order some more. But the ones I ordered, last time it took 6-8 weeks-ish.
Somewhere in there.
So I'm thinking maybe, if you're on here and you ordered one already, maybe into April, 1st of May, hopefully they'll come on in. But I remember last time it took a month or two, but hopefully they'll come on.
Mike gets in and says, are limb savers still a thing? Any benefits?
Limb savers, I mean the company's still there, but you don't see it as many as you used to on bows. I mean some companies put some sort of a limb saver thing in their bows from the factory, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
But to me when they first come out, you stuck them on an older bow with a big old limb on it, and it took a lot of that shock or something out. And I ain't saying it don't do that anymore, but it's not as noticeable anymore just because bows have come so far. But yeah, they're still around. You just don't see them quite as much. Somebody, Boy King said, TJ's beard game is strong. Do you put the string on the tip of your nose or the side on the glasses question? I think TJ goes to the side a little bit more.
Yeah, I tend to go to the side a little bit more. I am trying to keep it more on the tip, but it seems like whenever I go to, with the way I anchor, my anchor point and everything, it kind of comes to the side. And so when you do that, it's going to add a little bit to your draw length because you're not making that tip of your nose part of your anchor point anymore. So I'm trying to get to where my tip is, where I'm putting the tip of my nose on there.
Diesel Pusher said, what's our opinion on the whole single bevel heavy arrow thing for whitetail? We go with the flow. Like people come in a lot now asking for that, and we'll absolutely set them up for that. But I mean, personal opinion, you don't need all that. You know what I mean? So we shoot somewhere in the middle. You know what I mean? We're basically, most of us here are shooting a 400-ish plus grain arrow, but a lot of people come in wanting a 600 or 800 grain arrow, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But you don't need it. But we're happy to set them up. So I try to not. I know a lot of shops are very opinionated to people, and we'll offer people if they ask us, whatever we think about it. But if they want it, that's perfectly fine. We'll build them. But I think it is a little overkill sometimes.
Ian gets in and says, my draw length seems to differ from bow to bow. In the PSC, I shoot a 28.5, but Matthews is a 28. Is there an exact way to measure this?
Kinda, or actually, yes. I need to see if I can save the video. We did a video and did like an inline 3 versus a V3X33, but my main in the middle of the video file corrupted. So I tried to put it together, and then when that happened, I just kind of gave up. But I need to see if maybe I could pull some of that and still put a video together. We don't still have the V3X here, but anyway, the Matthews by the tape measure from the burger hole was a 1/2 inch to a 5/8 inch long compared to the prime, and that's a known thing. Matthews are going to run long. Some bows vary just a little bit, but if you were to at full draw on a draw board or however you want to do it, measure from the burger hole, center of that hole that you mounting that arrow rest in, all the way to the, where the arrow is knocked. That's an exact measurement, and you could fine tune each bow to that. But like, I know for me, if I shoot a 28, if I was shooting a Matthews, it's going to be a 27.5, and that's been a thing for a long time now, because when I was shooting Matthews, I'd say about 2003 or 4, I remember getting a 28-inch bow in, and it was tearing my arm up, and I'd never had a bow tear my arm up. And then I get measuring around, and I'm like, this thing's long, so I had to get another cam. But, let's see, are we going to the Lane says, are we going to the Total Archer Challenge? We are.
Yep.
We are, the Tennessee one. We will be there Friday and Saturday, is that right? Friday and Saturday.
Back to the draw question on that one. If you're wanting like a draw length, the best thing to do is wingspan measurement divided by 2.5, and that'll get you pretty doggone close.
And sometimes, like, if you do have the exact same draw length and it's not a bow thing, peep height has a lot to do with it. I've had people have a lower peep sight and feel like they're too long, but it's just the peep sight's not right. Brian said, howdy, gents. What's up, Brian?
What up? Let's see. William gets in and says, my module on my PSC Stinger X keeps vibrating loose. Any tips on how to prevent this? Roughly every 100 shots it starts making sounds.
I like to whoop out the old blue thread locker, and that'll usually fix it. I mean, they make the red, but you're not going to get it loose.
No.
So, like, if the blue were to not work, and you absolutely know you'll never have to move that module, I guess you could use red, but I wouldn't really recommend that. I know when I was shooting my Supra, I had that happen some. It would loosen up or whatever. But I ended up just putting the blue on there and checking it every now and then, and it was fine. So that would be what I would do.
James says, have you guys ever set up a mouth tab? Looking for suggestions and help for a friend of mine.
No, I've read up on it a little bit, and I guess we're not the people to ask, but I don't know if anybody actually makes that. I know some people use pieces of leather and all this, and they attach it to the string. They lower the poundage down some, and basically it's for somebody. Let's say for me, like if I couldn't use my right arm, I would grab that piece of leather with my teeth, and I know it sounds crazy, but I've seen people do it. Draw the bow back, and aim, and then let go with my mouth. I know somebody one time said they had made one out of paracord, but that it kept fraying up, and they had to redo it. And somebody told them leather was the way to go, but I don't even know who I could point you towards to answer that, because I don't know. Just from our usual books and ordering, I don't know anybody that like makes one of those. I think it's more of a custom figured out deal.
I think it is. I was gonna say you might be able to. What's they call him the armless archer? What's his name?
Matt Stutzman or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he's on Facebook. You might be able to reach out to him or through USA Archery may have something to do with like the
Yeah, I don't know if Matt uses a mouth tab though. Don't he have a little shoulder harness?
I think he's got the shoulder harness, but you know, you could reach out to him and, you know, he could put you in the right direction to somebody.
Yeah. Do we have any hinges in stock? We got a Ghost, B3 Ghost. I'd have to go look, see what else we got.
What's not the exit, but what's the other one? Because it's got the wrist strap on it.
Ah, crap. Hang on, I'll just go look.
I can't remember. It's gold. I remember that. I know it ain't the Omega.
The Versa. Is that it?
The Versa, I think. Ghost Versa. I think that's the only two we got.
Here's the exit. That's got a spring trigger.
Yeah.
I think I'm lying. The Versa's got a trigger.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. We just got the Ghost.
Which way do we serve our string? If you go by the serving of the string and the clocking, you'd have to do a left helical with our stuff. I've done a bit of testing with it, and I couldn't. I mean, I'm not no like Olympic shooter, but I couldn't tell any difference. I went out at like 80 yards with left and right fletched arrows, and didn't. After several rounds of kind of 3 and 3, there was no noticeable or no. I measured out the group basically from the center, and if you put all that into everything, there was no difference. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I understand kind of where people are coming from with that, but at the same time, that's a big fletching is gonna take over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not like, to me, it's not like the arrow's gonna be fighting it or anything. I have said before though, people that shoot handheld releases and put a lot of twist into the loop, I could see that having more of an effect than anything, because that loop's trying to twist that string over, you know what I mean? So, hang on, we got a couple things.
But that's been a big thing we're hearing, or, I'm getting a few phone calls about, which ways, y'all twisting strings or anything like that. And I don't know what the uptick is.
I don't know. I think somebody had put a video out about it. Wrapped and fletched 23 arrows with the Easy Fletch Mini yesterday. Turned out well. Good. Yeah, that's easy. I like that. We talked about it the other week. Perry said, TJ, thanks for helping the lady out with the recurve. She's very happy and now just needs practice. That's good.
Yeah.
I think I walked in when you was dealing with her that day.
Yeah, I think so.
Muddy Duck said, be nice to do another cup giveaway. Love to make another Archeryshack cup. We can do that. I hadn't done any kind of giveaway in quite a while. Maybe we can get some kind of something going.
Yeah.
Soon.
Let's see here. Ernie gets in and says, I've been out of the game for about 12 years. Things have drastically changed. Talk to me about overall bow lengths these days. I was happy with my 38-inch bow back then, but it looks like they have shrunk substantially.
They have. Oh, well, I mean, I say they have. I mean, he said 12 years ago, I mean, in 01, like the SQ2 come out, and then all the PSC bows that were short, but I'd say the average bow now is what, 32, 33 inches bow, but
yeah.
I mean, you got the big cams on them now.
Short limb.
But it's still preference. I mean, it's still, you can still get longer bows, and like we've got 35-inch bows and 39-inch bows and all this, so according to what you're doing with it, I'd say for, usually if somebody's 3D'ing and hunting, we can steer them towards like a 33, 34, in that range, but you could definitely shoot a longer one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, stuff changes. It's like computers, you know what I mean? Like in just a few years, bow stuff changes so much. I mean, it's like, I guess there's like eras, you know what I mean? There was like the solo cam was the thing, and then this and that, and even with Prime, we went from a 2-track to a 1, and just crazy stuff.
It's weird. how everything changes so quick.
Did we sell the N? Yeah, we did sell the NTN. I know we sold all those bows at this point.
Yeah, the NTN was the first one to go.
Yeah.
Elijah gets in and says, my axle to axle and brace height is a tad off after restringing my bow. Should I worry about it or start twisting stuff?
Don't forget that when you check all that, the bow needs to be maxed out. We get this question a good bit. You know, if you got 2 or 3 or 4, how many turns out of the bow, it is going to change the axle to axle and the brace height too. So, like what I would normally tell people is max it out. Let's say it's a 70-pound bow. When I restring one, I check axle to axle, I check brace height, and then I put it on the scale and I look for it to be between maybe 70 and 72 pounds, because some bows run, like Prime for example, most of their bows, and it even has it on the sticker, but they run about 3 pounds hot.
Mm-hmm.
But 70, 72 pounds, if all 3 of those are correlating together, then you're probably good. But I would bet maybe you got the limbs turned out a little bit or something. But if not, then yeah, you could do a little tweaking, you know what I mean? Because Hoyts, for example, a lot of times their published bus cable length is a little longer than what the bow likes. If if we literally take a Hoyt set off of our 100-pound stretcher, which is exactly to factory standards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking to the 64th or better, put it on the bow still needs about 3 or 4 twists in the bus cable. And I think it's just, I don't know what they're doing when they measure it or how, you never know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Matthews measures some of their stuff weird to throw people off, which is a whole nother topic. But anyway, yeah, if everything's maxed out and like it should be and it's still a little bit off, yeah, I would start tinkering a little bit.
And most of the time, if you looked up, like, let's say it's I'm just going to say like an elite, let's say it's an elite E35, because that's a popular bow. Most of the time, they will say within like plus or minus an 1/8 inch on ATA and brace height. I guess they throw that in there because just in case it's backed out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're kind of within that spec, you within a 1/16, 1/8 of an inch, your bow's timed and everything's shooting good, I probably would just leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually if somebody says, hey, my ATA's short, my brace height's long, and then I'll say, what's your poundage? If the poundage, in that scenario, if the cables are short, the poundage should be like 5 or 8 pounds heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, I'd probably untwist those cables, but I guess we'd have to know exactly. He didn't say what.
No, he didn't say what bow. Luke gets in and says, any way to make a bow with the spongy back wall feel firmer?
I mean, make sure it's timed according to what bow it is. I mean, like Bowmar makes some stops for certain bows, and what they do is make a bigger flat surface. So when the cable's here, when it rolls around, it'll smack that cable and be, let's say, 3/4 of an inch or an inch long, and it'll give you more of a solid feel than a peg that's going to like squish in on the cable. It's just according to what bow you got.
Yeah.
But like, definitely make sure it's timed right, because that could, if they hit a little bit different, it could give it sponginess.
Yep.
I have a Matthews Z Max from '97. Never used it. That was my first bow. I got a Feather Max from '97. Still got it hanging on the wall over here. The Legacy wall. Have you seen the new Scott Hybrid hinge wrist release? Looks kind of cool. I don't think I have.
I don't think I've seen it either. Let's see. And then Wes gets in and says, do you guys have someone you recommend to get a bow dipped?
Dipped? Not anymore. We had a local guy that we were taking him to, and he kind of got out of it. So I don't know if anybody in the comments knows or watching, put it in there. Yeah, the Legacy wall. I got my old Feather Max is up there, and my daddy's first bow is up there. I need to get, my great uncle had an old Ben Pearson recurve, and he died when he was in his late 30s, and I never got to meet him, but of my, I guess you'd call it immediate family, he's the first one that I know of that shot a bow. And I think that recurve is at my daddy's shop. Maybe I need to bring it over here and hang it up over here. But the legacy wall. Let's see. What was we talking about?
Crap, I don't know. Hang on 1 second.
What tack courses are we shooting?
Oh, the bow dipping.
Oh, bow dipping. Let me go back to that real quick. If anybody knows of somebody that's good, put it in the comments. Because, like I said, we had a local guy and he quit doing it. I don't know of anybody. And you got to be careful because, like, I know of places semi-local that dip stuff, but I would honestly want to see them dip a bow before I sent them or gave them a bow, because bows, especially these newer ones, are so intricate with all these caged risers and all that. I would want to make sure that they're dipping it to where that film gets up in there good and it don't look all crazy, because we've seen some sketchy stuff.
Bruce said that he said, sorry, that was the Scott Verge hybrid. I think I did remember seeing something. Ain't it got like a 2-finger trigger, kind of like the Spot Hole Keaton?
I don't know.
Or the Chicken Wing from True Fire? I think that's it. I could be wrong. We are shooting Black Rifle on Friday morning and the Prime course on Saturday morning for the tack.
I'm going to try to video it and get us a video for it, so that'll be good.
Well, what was it? Black Rifle has now, I think Dave's sponsoring the whole thing, I think.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But it's been called, the first year we went, it was called the Muddy course. And then it was called the Yeti course, I think, last year. So we haven't shot, that's the only range that we haven't shot yet, is the Black Rifle or Muddy, or so we have no idea what we're getting into on that one.
I feel like just from watching these tack groups, if they could get it, just from what I'm seeing, there's not necessarily Tennessee, but a lot of the other ones, and I'm sure Tennessee's including that, but there's more people wanting to go than they can accommodate, is what I'm seeing. So if they could either make it 2 weekends or a week or something, and maybe make the registration a little easier than it was this year, I think they could really, really, really explode that thing.
Yeah.
Because it looks like some of the fancier tacks, because they say the one near us, or ain't really near us, but the one in Tennessee is like the smallest one. But some of the big ones, like, they're selling out in minutes, and people are having a fit because they can't go. And
well, I know I did see where they did sell out, they had such a response. You can get on the waiting list, but they're actually adding courses.
Yeah.
You know, Dudley has the knock-on course that he does at, what is it? I know he does it in Utah, Montana.
A Hoyt course somewhere.
And then somebody did one of them's doing a Hoyt course, and then the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation has their course that they say the RMEF is the same as the knock-on.
Okay.
And then I read something about they were having some kind of little, 15 all elk targets. I can't remember where I seen that, but
it's a good problem for them to have. I just think maybe in the next year they should figure out how could you accommodate more people. And I mean, I don't know the answer.
I don't either.
I know, like, the registration for it was a mess. TJ literally sat at a computer for an hour and a half clicking refresh, and their website kept crashing, and I could tell you the story for the next 30 minutes, but it was a mess, and a lot of other people were talking about how much trouble it was.
I just don't think that I really think they didn't expect to have that much. And another thing is they tried to have, what was it, Texas?
Yeah.
At pretty much same time. So.
But they got a good thing going. I think they just need to work out maybe a few kinks, and they'll be a big deal.
I really enjoy it.
You think build skinny arrows for tack or just shoot normal hunting arrows? We did the Yeti course on Friday last year. It was a good hack. We shoot a little bit skinnier arrow, but I mean, I guess any regular size or hunting arrow would be fine. We got you know, some people's thought process is shoot like a cheaper hunting arrow because you may lose some.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I completely agree. That's a possibility. I'm thinking, well, what if it's windy? So I'm shooting a Renegade, which is a little bit smaller. You shooting on a Spartan?
Spartan still.
So, fingers crossed and knock on wood and all that. You know, we've never lost a ton of arrows, but it would be so easy to do with those long yardages. You know what I mean? And we've seen every year seen people walking off the course that ran out of arrows, but they only brought like six or four or whatever with them. So, we try to overkill it. We'll take like 2 dozen just to be safe. You know, you never know, and then go from there. But I mean, I guess I wouldn't want to be shooting some real high dollar arrows because you know the potential. Like last year, the only arrows we had trouble with was like the last target. You would have never thought about it, but there was a big limb, and as your arrow was going up to go 80 yards or whatever, they were clipping that limb, and that was the only arrow that I broke. Was it clipped the back of my arrow and busted it.
The walk of shame hiking back down without arrow.
Oh yeah, that probably, I hate to say favorite because I feel bad for whoever it was, but we were at the R100 one year and we heard pow, somebody dry fired their bow, or they shot. No, I guess you just don't pay attention, but he didn't have no arrow in his bow, and pow, blew it up. A few minutes later, he come down through there with a big frown with his bow in pieces, you know, and it was like, dang, that sucks.
I think he said that it had derailed on him.
Okay. That's what they all say. But
yeah,
it's funny how you don't pay attention to if somebody's got an arrow in their bow, you just expect it. Because Anthony was beside me out here one time. I was sitting in my little shooter stool, and literally he was as close to TJ as me, and about 4 or 5 other people was with us. He didn't have an arrow in his bow, and none of us seen it. And it scared me to death because he was right there. Pow! I was like, God almighty.
Boy Kings, they brought 12 and left with 8.
Oh,
and that's the thing about it too, is like in Tennessee, it's like the black rifles 25 to 75, and these are just what they put on there. They might be 1 or 2 on there that might be 90 yards. The prime course, you're going out to 120 easy.
Yeah.
Yeti, not Yeti, Sitka, you're going to be right around that 100-yard mark. So if you haven't shot long distance, you need to practice. And I mean, they're not putting like little jackrabbits down there at 100 yards for you to shoot at. They're big targets, but you know, you need to practice some 70, 80, 90, 100 yard, 120 yard shots.
Vanessa said, remember when Mikey shot that arrow up in the air? Yeah. That was something else.
Yeah, it was. I think that arrow is still orbiting in outer space.
Just bought a dozen RIP TKOs. Always shot Easton. What's your experience with those arrows? We like them. I mean, I've always been able to get Victory and have ordered them for people and all that, but we actually started stocking them, which that's another story. We still hadn't even got our whole order in from January, but that's okay. That's okay. We got about half of them in, but the RIP TKOs, Partain shooting them right?
Yeah.
And what did Devin get? I can't remember. Anyway, the ones we've seen and set up have done great. I think you'll like them.
They got a cool arrow weave design on them and everything. They look real good.
They I mean, I think it's gonna be a good arrow. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I've got on questions.
If you don't mind, type in, if you're live, type in live. If you're watching replay, type in replay. Last week I noticed a lot of people did it, and there was a ton, way more replays than I thought we had. But like I say, it just keeps. I mean, we got a good number on here now. We got about 30 something people maybe. But it helps us keep track. If we ever get down to where there's just a few trickling in, you know, we could pre-record it or do whatever. But it just helps us know if you're live or watching the replay. But if you got any questions or anything and you're watching this later, just punch them in. We'll try to see them next week and talk on here. But other than that, I know there's a big fire happening up in Tennessee. I don't know if anybody's from Tennessee. If you are, be safe. Big wildfire thing, and got some weird weather going on here, hot and cold, windy.
Well, to do when it gets closer to tack and we get our stuff set up, we need to do another on the live, do like just kind of a setup and kind of overview of what we take, because with that we get a lot of questions on what, you know, and I see it on the Total Archery group and everything, but you know, this is just something that we take. Do something like that, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, we'll do that. We will do it live from Arizona. Yeah, the wind is crazy. I feel like the wind here's been crazy for like a week. The weekend was wild. It's still blowing. I don't know when, but
3 vanes or 4?
Preference.
Yep.
Partain. Y'all met Partain on here, I'm sure. He shoots 4. We shoot 3. I mean, I hadn't seen a huge like difference either way. You know what I mean? Like I've shot 3 and I've shot 4, and I don't see a group difference either way you go. Wisconsin border. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning in.
Yep.
We'll leave y'all be, and we'll see y'all next week, if not sooner.
See y'all.
Thank y'all for watching us. Bunch of rednecks. TJ's going to get in his new truck.
Yep.